First story. Worried about my husband's relationship with his female coworker. My 35F, husband 37M, and I have been married for 3 years, but together for 20, with a few breakups in the middle. We are high school sweethearts. We had a few rough patches, but everything seemed okay this last few years. On the beginning of the year, he started a new job where he met this female coworker, and they started to get along. At first he mentioned her, like her parents were from our home country and she liked to play role games. We're both nerdy. That's okay, even if I'm always a little conscious about my husband female friends. I was never worried about it and considered myself not the jealous type. But everything changed a month ago. My husband told me he was going to start going to work with her the week she didn't have her kid. She's divorced but currently on a relationship. I didn't mind since she lives close by and the company is far away. It made sense. But after that I started to notice that they would text constantly, day, night, weekends, every damn day. He had her saved as Lady her name. I'm saved by my name and surname on his cell phone. He installed TikTok just to send her stuff, and didn't even bother adding me. He just had her and a few funny accounts. It came to a breaking point where I ended up crying, telling him he was breaking boundaries and that his relationship with her wasn't normal. He told me that he found a friend who shares his same interests, and it's been a long time since he's been able to talk to someone like that other than me or his BFF. And that he was not physically attracted to her, that I know she's not his type. I told him that I needed for him to speak more about things and about her if he wanted my trust. Because it couldn't be that I always communicate everything that happens to me and about the people I meet, but he never talks about himself, his work or his relationships. I mentioned that having me saved by my full name and her by nickname felt insulting. And he made a joke out of it since he didn't believe it was something that mattered, but changed my name to a literally owner of our cat. I'm trying to deal with this the best as I can, but her birthday's this week and he bought her a cute bear light that you can hug. Before he was between that, a book and a bear plushie. This I know because he used my Amazon account. 2 days ago we had a huge fight because of it. I told him that there are certain boundaries, that a book would have been fine for a friend, but a plushie is in no way something you can gift. He played the victim saying that I'm making a scene for him to want to gift his friend something nice. He then began talking of how important this friendship is for him, that he feels alone with me sometimes and he found someone who makes him feel a little better. I don't know if he hurt himself or if I'm being overly paranoid, but isn't that a really fucked up thing to say to your loved one? We left things like that and I'm really trying to make it work, but I'm sad, tired, and I don't know if I'm paranoid or I'm being gaslighted to believe that I am. My take is that even if he doesn't plan to cheat on me with her, he's getting an ego boost out of this. I haven't read his messages, but the other day I took a picture with his cell phone and saw in his gallery that she sends him selfies playing cute, but no nudes or provocative ones. I tried to propose a couples outing, since she's also in a relationship, but my husband always says he'll ask her but never does, or finds an excuse. Another thing I noticed, and now I really don't know if it's just in my head, is that when she arrives to leave her car and leave with him, my husband keeps our interactions to a minimum. We're normally really touchy with each other, like hugs and stuff, and just kisses me goodbye really quick. I don't know, honestly I've read so much worse stories here that I feel like I'm overreacting. What do you think? Update. Hello again everyone. I was thinking if updating or not since it's only been a few days. I want to thank all the people that helped me and made me feel I wasn't paranoid. After talking this last few days, my husband was behaving way better. He began talking about his work and his friends and stopped texting his coworker all day. This week was the week he takes her to work, and I was feeling she was being nice with me only when my husband was around. If he wasn't, she ignored me or didn't even look at me. Today was her birthday, but my husband didn't took her because he had to leave early. He had to travel to visit a friend. While we were having breakfast, I told him I felt like his coworker didn't like me at all, and explained how she acted different when he wasn't around. He said that he would not take her to work anymore then. TBH, I felt a little bad for her, but I was happy. We had a nice week and this was a great closure. That was until midday. He came back stressed because he was running late for the train, and in his stressed state confessed that she was acting like that because he told her about our fight about her, and how I reacted about the present he bought her. I was speechless. I felt so betrayed. He excused himself, saying that he was tired after fighting the night before and he needed someone to talk to. I told him that he made a huge mistake, that he went to the source of our problems to tell her about something extremely personal, and with his actions has closed all the possibilities of a friendship for me with her. It's like he doesn't realize the magnitude of what he's done, and I'm so tired of this. It's like he keeps playing the victim and talking time and time again about the present like I'm some kind of control freak, but that's not the issue. We already discussed that. I decided to move on from that and accept it, but he decided to double down when choosing a side. I guess we'll talk when he gets back on Saturday. For now I just wanted to vent. Thanks for listening. First update. It's over. I mean, everyone knew already. Seems like I was the only one blind enough not to notice. He came back from meeting his friend and was all loving. I told him we needed to talk, and he complained, asking if it was necessary because he had to leave for a 2-week work trip on Monday. I told him that yes, that we needed to discuss what happened, and if he understood why it hurt so much when he told her about our fight. He started getting defensive, and I told him if he wasn't capable of understanding then it was over. He calmed down and told me he understood, and said he'll cut contact with her. He was the one that brought up what happened 10 years ago. Same situation, reversed roles. As soon as he showed me that it was bothering him, I immediately cut all contact with the person, and told me you did what had to be done, I'll do the same. So I have to say I was still a little worried, but he said that he'll cut contact with her, and I wanted to believe him so badly. So off he went to his work trip. They don't work together, he went with his team. So a few days in and I found out that he was lying to me. I'm not telling how I found out in case he reads this. That's the only thing I want to keep for myself. But I did. He was cheating on me with her. I wasn't gonna say anything until he came back, but it's so awful and soul-consuming that I told him today. I told him that if he had the balls he should come clean, that I already knew everything. And he did. He told me that he was in love with her, that they connected in a otherworldly way, and he felt like a teenager when he was with her. I screamed and cried and cursed him. I felt so immensely sad. I told him that I couldn't forgive the fact that he made me doubt my mental health. He made me doubt myself. He saw me crying, begging. He saw how much he hurted me, and he decided to keep lying, to keep playing his stupid game. I told him it was over. And just like that, a 20-year relationship comes to an end. I'm so sad and devastated. It feels like I'm grieving the image I created of the man I was so in love with. He's still alive, but it feels like that. I don't have a job that pays enough still. I'm sending my resume everywhere. And I don't want to leave my pets, so I'll move to the extra bedroom for now until I can get a job that allows me to rent an apartment for me and my cat. I begged him not to even bring that woman near this house in the meantime. I honestly don't know what the future holds for me, but I hope it's something good. I think I deserve to be happy. For now I'm just gonna cry. Thanks for listening and for all the advice you gave me on my previous post. Have a nice day everyone. For me. Second story. Do I, 26M, try to make it work with my GF, 23F, who talks to guys right after a fight? We've been together for almost 4 years, lots of ups and downs, but I love her. I admire her and look up to her for all that she does, but I have issues with our communication, how she talks to me, and feeling rejected, like an annoyance, often. So what happened? I was on the way back home from work ready to whip up a late breakfast with fresh eggs and avocado, boar's head bacon. I was ready and excited, in a good mood. I stopped at the gas station to get some gas, filled up, went inside and got a strawberry and cream Dr. Pepper for this late breakfast. My GF calls me and asks what am I doing. I told her getting gas, getting a drink. She says she needs gas, she's empty, broke, knows I just got paid, etc. Going off on me. I told her she might have to put a $5 in until Monday, when I can help with gas. I have to wait till Monday because I just used my company gas card to fill up. And it would be oddly suspicious if I had to fill 2 tanks back to back while filing my expense report. I could have filled up half a tank each, but I didn't. I just pumped it, ran inside and didn't think much of it. So I can see how it would irritate her if I wasn't thinking of her, but the way she was going off on me just shouldn't happen. And is not what I want in a relationship or how to live my life. So I pull back home on the phone with her going off. I don't live far from the gas station. I got gas. I asked her why she wants to fight and she hung up. As I am walking towards the front door, I said stupid dumb bitch kind of in a regular voice, not meaning for her to hear me. When I walk in the door she says leave. She heard me and she doesn't want to be talked to that way. Mind you, we've been living together for like 2 years and been having arguments, and for her to say get your shit and get out wasn't just said lightly. I apologized and said I didn't mean for her to hear that, but I was frustrated with how she was expecting me to fill her gas without her asking. So she tells me to get everything and go, and I do. Fast forward 10 p.m. We haven't spoken to each other. I said the last thing hours ago via text, basically saying I am sorry, but this is unhealthy. Her old coworker that is on her private Snap story sends me screenshots of her talking to the dude that took her virginity. And he's asking her to have a threesome or them fuck in front of his GF, and her response from what I seen was OMG Alex, you are cracking me up, with laughing and crying emojis. That's not it. She also had another snap of a guy named Timmy, who brought her some Starbucks. I was appalled, heart sunk in my chest like cold dead. Then shaking, I sent her the screenshots I just seen, and now she wants to talk, start blowing me up saying it isn't what it seems, yada yada. I blocked her and just been blocking her when she sends me a message from a text now number or some BS. My heart hurts bad and I DK what to do honestly. My therapist said I might be afraid to leave because of the sunken loss fallacy, investing so much for so long you don't want to let it go. Back to what's happening. I wake up the next day and her old coworker, who is a good guy, in recovery like me, text me, please don't go back. He's looking out for me, and he hates to be the one to tell me if I didn't know, but that Timmy that brought her coffee, she slept with him a few months ago, and she continues to talk to him. That last part was it. I feel crippled inside. So she continues to ask me to let her explain. I guess I can see how if there are no boundaries in a relationship it would be okay, but my GF and I have known boundaries what would hurt each other, and am so hurt I don't know what to do. Update. Caught first official evidence. I hate to write this, seriously, but I am embarrassed to bring this up to anyone to vent and figure it out. I, 26M, been with my girl, 23F, for 4 years. It's been rocky but I love her. Recently we gotten into a fight where I moved out. Caught her talking to a guy, Timmy, a co-worker. Timmy got her coffee, and that is verifiable information. I have screenshots. Then a other co-worker of hers she introduced me to, who is in recovery like me, DM'd me one day randomly after this fight I had with girl. He sent more screenshots of her having a long convo with her ex Alex trying to fuck her. He's flirting, hyping her up, and she is asking questions like, doesn't he have a GF? How is she okay with this? And just the only no she said was my BF would object. Nonsense. She shouldn't have replied anything. It kept going to. He said, don't tell me you never thought about us. You be the type. And she says, OMG Alex are cracking me up. And he sends a ninja emoji. Like sneaky link type shit. So that is evidence, right? But not real evidence. I was a fool and came back. and I am really killing myself because she told me she would do anything to prove to me she didn't cheat and she loves me and she respects me. I come back and book a cruise with her. Things do not get better the following days. She is rude, and I noticed just her being distant. I felt weird, and after cuddling I got up and took a shower and went through her snap. LOLKMS. I should have just left it alone. This bitch was talking to an underage girl, talking about sexting. I didn't see anything, but I was on download my data off Snap history and seen the messages of them talking about eating each other's pussies and using a vibe. Disgusting. I seen the dates. It was in February of this year. In February I was out of town in Arizona for my sister's dad's murder case. Real life shit. She was with me sexting underage kids, and I found this out and just booked a cruise with her. NGL. I freaked out and punched a hole in the wall and was ready to go to jail. I want to tell everyone who she is, what she is, get her on the damn predator list. She would tell me she's going to kill herself when I tried to leave in the past and I always stayed, and she just treats me so wrong. If you see my other dumbass post, you could see just big bullshit situations. I literally just take L after L. Don't get none. I hate my life. I am so mad for real. I'm so sad. Finit take out alone and go to Magic City type shit. I'm so sad. IDK. Now I confronted her about that child predator shit and she just always has an explanation for shit. I'm so sad. Third story. Wife cheated on me with a guy who was in the army and is now having a second child to him. I met my wife in 2009 and we tied the knot in 2013. She was 18 when we crossed paths. Well, I was 29 at the time. Now, she's 33 and I'm 44. Together, we have 4 children aged 13, 12, 9, and 5. Throughout our years together, she's been a stay-at-home mom, never having to work or handle any bills. Over time, I noticed her engaging in flirtatious conversations with other men on multiple occasions, but I never had concrete suspicions of physical infidelity. However, things took a turn at the beginning of 2022, when I stumbled upon messages from a new guy who claimed to be enlisted in the army and heading to boot camp. Despite her assurances that she had no intention of seeing him, come April 2022, she returned home from a weekend at her friend's place with visible hickeys on her neck. It turned out the guy had taken leave after boot camp, and their plan was to rendezvous at her friend's residence. A heated argument ensued between us, leading her to obtain a protection from abuse PFA order against me, resulting in my removal from our home. Subsequently, the guy left her friend's house to visit his father nearby. Following my arrest in front of our kids, she brought him back to our house and engaged in intimate encounters in our bed. Once his leave was over, he returned to his base, and my wife failed to attend the permanent PFA hearing. She later pleaded for my return, and though I went back, tensions rose due to her ongoing communication with the guy, who was scheduled for another leave in the summer. Frustrated, I reached out to his military base, expressing my discontent about his adultery with my wife and warning of repercussions if he visited our home. Consequently, he ended up at our neighbor's house, prompting my wife to take our kids and move next door. Despite the comfortable life we provided for our children, including their own rooms and the latest gadgets, my wife opted to relocate with them to our neighbors. In this new setting, they lacked personal space, sleeping on couches and floors. My wife, who has no income, chose to uproot them. Meanwhile, she maintained physical relations with me and continued to fetch necessities from our place. The guy managed to stay there for 2 weeks by avoiding me entirely. Additionally, a no trespassing order, signed by our shared landlord, prevented me from intervening. Several weeks later, she discovered she was pregnant, and given my vasectomy post-birth of our youngest child, I knew the child was not mine. The baby arrived 9 months later and I took our dog and got an apartment. She frequented my apartment, bringing the kids along, before heading back to our neighbors with them. I raised the issue of adultery with the army, resulting in the guy's discharge. He relocated near my wife's mother, leading to me facing new charges for threatening him, with bail conditions barring proximity to him or my wife. Despite these events, my wife has yet to seek divorce, intermittently contacting me for her convenience. Currently, our children reside with my mother-in-law, as my wife struggles to support them. The aftermath of these tumultuous events resulted in me losing my job, a new car, and our home, and recently the apartment, compelling us to live with our respective parents. Despite the chaos, she fails to acknowledge her role, shifting all the blame onto me. Currently still have pending charges and size is now involved. Is this really all my fault? Sure, I have fault, but she denies anything is her fault. I'm sorry, all my fault. Fourth story. What actually works to fix a dead bedroom? I, 33M, have been in an on-again off-again dead bedroom situation with my wife, 35F, for many years. We have 2 children, and have been together for 10 years. There have been times there has been sex maybe once a month, and other times there has been no sex for up to 2 years. I am the EHL, and she is the LL. I have tried just about everything over the years, and I can't say that anything ever really worked. Just to give a few ideas of what we tried. 1. Discussing it at length, including every reasonable angle a person could approach this on. Happiness, frustration, marital health, obligation, divorce. 2. Taking over more household child-rearing tasks so the wife can relax more, to the point that I did do everything and she does nothing but relax every day. 3. Giving compliments, massages, trying to be a positive, likable person to be around. 4. Getting fitter. 5. Initiating all the time, to initiating not at all. Having had many opportunities to fix this, I can't say that anything has ever actually worked. The only time that our sex life returned was when we were trying to have children. Then the sex life after trying to get pregnant stuck for a while before slowly tapering off. So what actually works to fix a dead bedroom? Update. Is my wife cheating on me? I never thought my wife would cheat on me. However, some things lately have made me suspicious. Background. We are married with 2 children. I, the husbandman, work from home and watch our kids. My wife has a job where she works part-time in a medical clinic, and the rest of the time she visits clients directly in their homes across the city. She has her iPhone location shared at all times, but I don't find this useful because she can be literally anywhere and just say she is there for work. She is typically gone from 9 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. each weekday. Why I am suspicious. 1. Historically, my wife doesn't seem to enjoy having sex with me and always makes me use a condom. We regularly go many months without any sex. 2 weeks ago she told me she was horny and wanted to have sex, so we did. The next day she said she was horny again and wanted to have sex, so we did again, twice in one weekend. She didn't want to use a condom either time, which was unusual, but I wasn't complaining. 2. 1 week ago I started getting a horrible pain in my penis while urinating. I have never had a problem like this in my life. When I told my wife about it, she said, and I quote, "You didn't get it from me." At the time I thought this was really weird because I was just telling her, not accusing her. But I let it go and didn't think much about it. 3. Today I asked to use her iPad, which she often takes with her to work. Our daughter was using my phone and I wanted to browse the internet. She told me it was dead, so I couldn't use it. So I went down and took it out of her bag and went to charge it, but it was already fully charged. Lie. B. I asked her for the passcode as it had been changed. Weird. C. She said she did not want to give me the iPad because it has work-related stuff on it. She regularly gives the iPad to our 3-year-old daughter to play with, so I know this is also a lie excuse. D. She tells me she thought the tablet was dead because it didn't turn on at work earlier, but the tablet was already on when I went to get it. She is not the sort of person to miss this. So another lie. Conclusion. Taken all together, this starting to seem suspicious. I think I can assume that if there was any evidence on her tablet, she will now delete it. So do you think she is cheating? If so, how can I catch her? Fifth story. What is happening? Is this cheating? Help me understand. My girlfriend met a guy for an acting scene. He shared the auditions he was interested in, and she chose a scene where two people try to have sex for the first time. This was just an audition, no money or job, just the two of them. The scene included a kiss, and she made the scene extremely sexual. The auditions lasted for weeks, with them rehearsing alone in a rehearsal space late at night. He would walk her to her car every night, which I only discovered after asking many questions. I didn't know they were rehearsing so late or that he walked her to her car every time. Suddenly, her vibe toward me changed. She became critical of me, saying I was negative. I suspected she was thinking about breaking up with me, but didn't connect the dots at the time. She seemed giddy and excited, unlike before. One night, she didn't want to have sex with me, blaming it on the food being hot, something that had never happened before. Yet, she acted very sexual, teasingly leaning over the bed and getting on top of me, but then stopping suddenly, only to continue being suggestive. The day before my first day at a new job, she got extremely weird, cried, and became very anxious. The last time we had sex, she seemed vacant for the first time, which triggered my gut feeling that something was off. I confronted her, saying I knew she had kissed him. She freaked out when I asked how many times. She couldn't answer directly and finally said 3 times. She admitted enjoying the scene and praised how wonderful he was. My gut was screaming that something was wrong. She became defensive and mean when I asked more questions. I later found a note on her phone saying she felt impulsive and wanted to smoke weed. When she showed me her messages with him, they were all about scheduling time, but they contained love hearts and blushing faces, which she claimed she used with everyone. However, she never used them in messages to me. I saw her call logs and noticed a 23-minute call and a 7-minute call with him, which she claimed were work-related. She had been looking up STI symptoms, pink eye, birth charts and history, which she later said was about me, but it wasn't, his address several times, and his social media photos. Her tone towards me was aggressive and horrible when I sought clarity. One night, I trusted my gut and asked her to tell me how she felt about him. She said she got confused, turned on in the scene, felt a spark, and a soul connection. When I asked if it was a crush, she said maybe. Later, when I wanted to leave, she got horrible and mean, accusing me of manipulating her into saying that. She insisted it was just acting and that she never felt anything toward him. Weeks later, she mentioned he had asked her to get Mexican food, but she said no. However, I found a leaflet in her car for the same thing. She denied everything and blamed it on acting, though it was clear there was a pull toward him. She even had her car cleaned the same day she looked up his address. Now, she's given me her location, got an STI test, and I spoke to him. But my gut still feels something is off. She tells me she never met up with him outside of work, but I doubt it. They met from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. How could they not get food? The weird searches and her past relationships with men, while I'm a girl, add to my doubts. She claims he's like a brother, insists she's gay, and doesn't know why she said that stuff that night. She says she's acting crazy because I'm pressuring her with questions and can't stand it. Somehow, I'm now in the wrong for doubting her, invading her privacy, and she claims she's innocent and can't believe I put her through this. I asked her to call him and pretend I'm not there, and he said how can I reassure her. I then spoke to him, not really telling me anything about him wanting to spend time outside of rehearsing, and I said if you knew what I knew you would be calling to. The STI test came back with a strange result. She later told me to come back into the DR office, and I could ask any questions. The lady said she can't be 100%, but I would be reassured. At one point I asked her to draw alone with him, and not drive to the audition with him. She lied about the distance. She said it was only a 10-minute drive, but it was in fact a 40-minute drive each way. And she then got coffee. She said, "You aggered." I said, "I will never support this. It's up to you." At that point later she said she didn't know if I was controlling the truth as I was crying my eye out begging her not to. What are your thoughts? Do you think there was cheating? What is the likely scenario? Could this just be acting? Sixth story. Am I wrong for wanting to divorce my wife? My wife and I have been married for 18 years. We are both 36 years old. Although we've had our ups and downs with separation and near divorce, we've managed to stay together. We had kids, 20M, 17F, 11F, very young, which is why we got married so young. Marriage never crossed my mind growing up, but after our unplanned pregnancy, it was the right thing to do. About a year into our marriage I was working out of state. She had an affair and had gotten pregnant. I thought I could forgive and forget, so I stayed, but life is never that easy. That was 17 years ago and I raised my daughter as my own. But I was never able to forgive her. It's always been in the back of my mind, eating away. We have tried marriage counseling twice before, which didn't really do much, just bring the past to the surface, but no solution. This is what caused our near divorce before. But when I left, the feeling of being alone without my kids made me come back and try to make it work again. Although my wife and I don't argue or fight, have date nights regularly, and a healthy sex life, I hate being married. I would have never thought in a million years that I would have been married this long. I do not see a long-lasting marriage as an accomplishment. No offense to lifelong partners. I honestly just do not love her. She is not the type of woman that I wanted to spend my life with. But I never wanted our kids to grow up without both parents together, which is why I've stayed this long. I believe that having both parents present significantly affects your children's development in a positive way. Even though I've been wanting divorce and have been planning on it once my 11-year-old turns 18, within the past year the feeling has intensified. I just can't see myself leaving again because the feeling of sleeping in another home away from my kids kills me. Sorry for the long post, I just had to tell someone. To the earlier comments, I left the details of the affair out because my thinking is that if I choose to forgive her, then I choose to forget it also, and bringing it up would be throwing it in her face, which is something I don't think is right. Seventh story. Fiancé finger blasted a girl. I am 26M, and my 27F fiancé had sex with a woman in our house while I was sleeping in another room. 9 years together. I chose to stay with her and it's been a month. I still love her and dearly look forward to a life together, but waves of sadness hit me at random times of the week, usually when I'm not distracted and alone. Every time I have these feelings I don't want to bring them up because I feel as if I would be punishing her, and I don't want that. I so desperately just want to move on and not feel heartbreak anymore. I think it's the feeling of not being loved as deeply as you love them. I constantly blame myself for it, saying I could have prevented it and saw the signs, but I trusted too much. I could have prevented it if I was a better lover emotionally or physically or socially. It truly feels like my world has shattered, and I don't know how to cope with anything now as we've been together 9 years, and our relationship was and still is the foundation of my happiness and source of my contentness in life. That all being said, I will happily feel negative emotions every now and then if it means I can live my life out with her. I'm annoyed at how I'm slightly depressed now. I was solid for a couple weeks and now I just find myself in a state of constant exasperation. Not excited for the future nor excited for plans, not excited for projects, shows, or just life in general. It's just a consistent mood of it is what it is. I also feel like I can talk to my confidant about this because they are indeed my perpetrator, and I don't like sharing with friends or family. It would also be preventing them from forgiving themselves and moving on, and I don't want to add to their overall pain in the situation either. It took her like 3 or 4 days to tell me, and she had a tummy ache the whole time she held it in, and I can tell she clearly feels guilty and regrets it, but here we are. I forgive the action and am rebuilding trust as best as I can, but that doesn't take the heartache and feelings of unrequited love and pain away. Basically, how can I cope? 8 story. M43 married to F45 for 12 years, together for 17. 5 years ago, after a chance meeting with her old FWB involving flirting and reminiscing, my wife revealed to me that she had called to his house days before I proposed and ended up kissing him. They had been sexting for months before that. She swears that was all it was, but I find it hard to believe, seeing as she made the effort to drive 30 minutes to his house and had a pretty passionate history by all accounts. She said that she told him she was having doubts about us, even though she was the one that brought up the idea of us getting married. That was surely a green light for him. Curiosity got the better of me, and I found messages on her phone flirting and reminiscing with a different FWB around 10 years ago. Went to see his band a couple of times behind my back, but said nothing else happened. She has told me that she never really felt any passion or lust towards me, but seemingly had plenty with people before me. If I had realized that years ago, I would have left and we both could have found someone else to be more passionate with. But she always reassured me that she just wasn't a very passionate or lustful person, and I accepted that. Knowing now that she could be and was closer to most other people than me really hurts and is consuming me on a daily basis. I don't want to leave. We have 2 beautiful kids and have built a great life together, albeit with very little passion or emotional connection. Now if she tries to be passionate, I find it hard to accept it or enjoy it. What can I do to get over it? Am I overreacting about just a kiss? Was there more? It's also the timing of it though. When she knew I was about to propose, that should have been our happiest time together.